To assemble your Allegro 1B tower, you need a 5/32 Allen wrench, which is included with your kit, and a knife to open your packaging.
Hi, my name is Kayleen and I'm the Pilates mechanic here in the BB Garage.
And hi, I'm Ken Endelman. I'm the assistant to the Pilates mechanic at the BB Garage.
And we are lucky because he also doubles as the Balance Body CEO. So I'm glad to have you here.
But my assistantship is really my day job.
Yes, yes, of course. So today we're going to talk about how to install a tower of power on your Allegro machine. Now this procedure works for the newer version of Allegros, so serial number 36396 and higher. And also you'll notice that this is a really long Allegro. It is an Allegro stretch, so it's a little bit different in size, but the procedure is still exactly the same for all the regular Allegros. All right, so let's start by unboxing, then we'll assemble, and then we'll show you how to use it. Okay, what's important about unboxing, Ken?
Paper cuts and staples.
Yeah.
Watch out, don't slide your fingers on the edge of the paper, and be careful for the staples because they're sharp.
Yes, all right, so I'll watch my fingers. Slide this over here.
There it goes, okay.
All right, let's take out this box first.
Okay.
Oh, that's heavy.
It is.
Maybe you can grab it a little bit easier than me.
Here, I'll put it underneath there.
Teamwork. Okay. And you can probably set that up against the wall.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to cut the top tape with this knife here, but I'm just going to be really careful not to cut the insides. So I'm just lifting the flaps a little bit. Okay.
Could you hand me the razor?
I sure could.
I'm going to cut these bands off here.
Oh, okay. So we've got some documentation. I think there's a roll down bar in here. Bunch of springs. Springs, springs, springs. Okay, let's see what else. We always want to check the boxes because sometimes parts are hidden where you don't expect them to be, and then they might get tossed. So we're just double checking. Aha!
Ah.
There's more stuff under here. Straps, loops. These look like the tower brackets. And then we've got pulleys and bottom spring standoffs for the push-through bar. Okay? All right. Well, I think that's everything that should come with it. There we go. Let's head on over to the head end of the reformer.
Got it.
Okay, so we need to install the tower brackets before we can actually put the tower on the brackets. Okay, so let's take out the risers. And then we need to take off these plastic pieces here on the end of the frame. So Ken's got an Allen wrench. I've also got an Allen wrench in this pack of parts here.
Much easier than the last video.
Oh. And we need to save the screws because we'll need them again to put this plastic piece back on. But you don't need the lanyards anymore with the quick release pin on them. So I'm going to actually remove this piece, put it over there, and now we've got it off. Okay. Okay, let's slide the brackets into the frame. So we've got brackets in this packaging. So we're going to slide them on so that this silver plate fits into the side of the frame rail. Now you may need to loosen these 6 screws a little bit so that it slides easily into the frame. So mine does not feel like it's loose at all and it doesn't fit in. So I'm going to have to loosen these screws. I don't want to loosen them all the way, okay? Loosen quite enough. There we go. All right, so we'll slide it past the end here. Don't tighten the bolts yet, and we will reinstall the plastic plates on the end.
Okay, let's show them a little bit what this looks like so when they put it on. So this shiny metal part fits actually inside the slots here. So it fits in there so that it slides down. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Exactly. All right. I've got those 2 screws that I saved. I'm just going to start them by hand and then use the Allen wrench to tighten them up.
So
Okay.
how tight on these guys?
Not that tight,
Right.
just so that there's no wiggle on this plastic plate. Okay. Over tightening these screws could really bend the plastic piece.
Yeah.
Yep. Once that end cap is secure, okay, we will slide our brackets all the way up so that they're flush. Uh-oh. There we go. You got to get those knobs out of the way. You want to slide them all the way up against the end. Okay, now we can tighten the 6 screws. How tight are you making these ones, Ken?
You know, I'm shutting down to the flush, and then I'm giving them a little bit extra, little tiny walk. It doesn't take much. They seem to seat really easy.
Yeah.
So it's like they're coming into contact. And this time, you know, I'm not moving, after the touching, I'm not really moving more than even a 1/16 of a turn.
Yeah. Here we go.
There's 6. They don't have to be that tight.
All right. So while we're here, let's go ahead and install the eye bolts that go at the bottom. So these are for bottom loading your push-through bar.
Okay. Are we going to need a 7/16 for that?
We are. I think that's what we have been
Okay.
using.
Ah, that's not
Oh,
this one.
no, we don't need, sorry, we don't need a 7/16.
Okay.
We need a 5/32 Allen
Okay.
wrench.
All right, you've got
Okay.
that.
So here you go. Those are for you. So we've got 2 pieces here. Okay. We're going to slide the bolts from the inside of the frame. There's a hole on the inside. And you're going to have the threads protrude out. Now, you could probably reach under here to help guide it in to the hole. There we go. Now I'm going to hand tighten. Then we'll take the Allen wrench and tighten the head of the Allen bolt. I would like the eye bolt to be either vertical or horizontal. So I'm going to hold that still with my fingers as I tighten the bolt.
Make it go horizontal?
You want to go vertical? Let's go vertical.
Okay, let's go vertical.
Okay. Now, is yours tight enough, Ken, or do we need to go in there with a screwdriver to hold the eye bolt?
No,
in
mine
place?
just tightened up, and I didn't have
All
to do
right.
anything.
Excellent.
But you could, right? You could
Yes.
hold it in place with a screwdriver and just stick it in like this, right? Yeah,
All right. I think we're ready for the tower.
I think so too.
Let's go grab the tower.
I'm going to kick these guys off.
We're going to install the tower so that there are actually holes on the face of the tower where these knobs are going to go. So Ken's going to flip around. Now you can see here, whoop,
Oops.
watch the ceiling. You can see here that these holes need to line up with the knobs, and then the tower itself will actually rest on this little platform on the bracket. Then we'll hold the tower up against the bracket and tighten the knobs by hand. There we go. You all set over there?
All set.
Last thing we need to, because we won't be using the risers anymore, we will install the pulleys. So there's a nice long slot on the side of the tower, and that's so that you can adjust the height of your pulleys. Okay, so we're going to remove the knob, this little spacer, and one of these washers before we install it here. Okay. All right. So this piece goes on the outside. It's going to stick out in the middle. We'll put the washer on the protruding threads and then tighten the knob into the standoff. How high are you going? All the way to the top?
Yep.
Let's go all the way to the top.
Make it easy.
Okay. And I'm aligning my eye bolt horizontal here.
Good idea.
Okay. So I'm keeping this, I'm tightening the knob pretty securely.
yeah.
Same thing with the other knobs. Okay. All right.
The
We're
ropes.
ready to thread the ropes through.
I think
So
so.
we got to finish taking them off of those risers, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
Loose end of the rope through the pulley. And then back to the carriage. Before we put the mat conversion on, we have one final thing to do, and that is to flip your T-pins. So for shipping purposes, your T-pins are oriented on the inside, right? So we're going to remove them one at a time and reinsert it from the outside.
Are you holding that push-through bar into position while you pull that T-pin out?
I am holding it. However, as long as the push-through bar stays within the uprights, it's not going to go too far. Okay, so I could even let it go here, and it's not going to fall. But it's not in line with the T-pin, so I've got to lift it up a little bit to get
So
the
you're
T-pin
out of line?
through. Now I'm in line. Okay. Push-through bar is ready. Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to put some springs on. Why don't you open up our mat conversion?
I'm on it.
Okay. So I'm putting these springs on no particular order. Obviously, you Pilates instructors know that they change up depending on what you're teaching. Okay, so just put them on. You beat me.
I beat you.
All right. So, Ken, if we wanted to use the tower, how would we get the reformer converted into a mat?
There's a couple of steps, right?
Yep.
First thing is we have to take off the shoulder rest, right?
We could.
Right?
I don't think we have to, do we?
Don't have to.
I don't think we have
Because
to.
if we disconnect the springs and slide it back, ready?
There we go. So you can either keep the shoulder rests on or you can take them off depending on what you're working on, right?
Right.
All right. And we've got a mat.
Right.
Does
Next
the,
up.
does the orientation of the mat matter?
I don't think this mat, it does have an orientation.
I don't think it does.
It does?
I think
Okay.
it's symmetric.
It's totally symmetrical, unlike our other mats. You're
Yep.
right. Equal distance here and here, right?
Yep.
So all we need to do now is drop it in, right?
I think so.
Let's put it against here and here. And
Does it fit? Or do I need to get the ropes out of the way? So sometimes
you
this
need-
happens.
I think you need to move,
We need
move
to
the
get
ropes.
these ropes get pinched up in here at the head end of the frame. So I'm just going to get them out of the way so that this can open and go all the way.
Ooh, that's so
Aha.
nice.
There we go.
There
Easy.
we go.
Okay, so now we're ready for a tower workout.
That was easy.
Yep. All right, so that concludes our tower installation video. If you need more videos like this one, you can check them out at the BB Garage website, pilates.com/bbgarage. We'll see you over there.